Hey YouTube, this is Mochismo Eugene again. I'm coming to you for another video. And this video is going to be basically references to December 28th, 2020, in which I uploaded a video. Had some friends come by. At the time they were friends. They are no longer friends, and they haven't been for quite a while, and I'll discuss that. They're elderly, by the way, and this was a video I uploaded December 28th, 2020. And the gist of that video was some money that was given to me by them. Randomly, they stopped by, and it essentially was $1,000. And the title of that was Empaths Helping Empaths. Today, I'm going to show you where, in fact, when you're healing and you're not attuned to certain things with regards to people giving you things, or their kindness being false. And I wasn't going to make a video on this, but after some time away from this, healing away from it, because there's a substantial amount of things that happen within this after the $1,000 was given to me. And that's why I was wondering whether I should recap or do another video regarding that. And I said to myself, man, I'm past this, but somebody may not be past this. Someone may be going through this very thing at the moment. So after consideration in that respect, I said I'm going to do the video. And the video will be titled The Elderly Narcissist. And again, this title is the Elderly Narcissist Con Artist, if you will. And again, this is exit strategies. This video deals with exit strategies, showing you how to exit a narcissistic, abusive relationship, and also to share with you strategies on how to exit effectively and quietly, and at the same time gain awareness before you exit the situation. So I'm going to condense this as much as I can, but it's something that I really think needs to be talked about. And I chuckle as I talk about it because, we all can be duped, and it doesn't matter how much healing that you have with regards to these monsters. And that's my label, monsters, because I don't want to get very derogative. I don't want to get very demeaning. Monsters is sufficient. And so these monsters, man, they come in all shapes, sizes, and ages. And I met them at the it was a metal recycling plant. Correction. So I struck up a conversation. She had a John Deere hat on, the wife. She was receiving the receipts or the money for what they had brought to the metal yard. And so her husband was in the truck, and I hadn't yet met him. And so I say, "Oh, you're a John Deere girl." She's like, "Oh yeah, of course." And the hair was pink, so just making small talk as we're standing there. And she's like, blah, 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 blah. Somehow we exchanged numbers, and we became friends. And I had a large tree in the backyard here in where I live. It's huge. I mean, this thing is probably 50 feet, 60 feet tall, probably 25, 30 inches in diameter. And it was leaning, and it was a very dangerous tree to cut down. And he offered to help me. He brought his own chainsaw, and he attempted to cut it, and had a few obstacles in the way, but I had moved them, and we had like maybe this valley of space in which I wanted to drop the tree specifically. And he offered to begin the process. So he went on to cut the tree. As he gets 90% of this tree cut, he chucked it with the chalk. Those who don't know what a chalk is, a spade. He nailed it in to make sure, and this ensures the tree falls where you want it to fall. So, 90% of this tree is cut. That means he has all but this amount possibly to cut. At this point, this tree is gigantic. And at this point, you don't shut the saw down, and you don't take a break. You can't continue the process. And at this point, he said, "Oh, I want to take a break." And I was like, "No, you don't want to take a break. Let's finish this. This tree is dangerous." To which he persisted. He said, "Oh, don't worry about it." And at that point,
I realized him being the older, stubborn guy, which, I'm stubborn at times too. And so I didn't really put much emphasis in it to the fact that, or the possibility that this guy is he malignant? And so, long story short of that, he inevitably cut the tree and it fell. Thank God it fell exactly where I needed it to fall. And that by the tree being down, I had a sigh of relief. So, to which, we continue to be friends. After that, it wasn't a big deal, and I went on to tell him, hey, in the future we can't play that game. And so his whole conversation is sort of like this, not oppositional defiant, but he just didn't take anything that serious. And this is something to watch out for when you're dealing with these monsters. They don't take anything that is very, very serious in life with regards to human life. They really downplay it. And it's kind of weird to try to describe it, to give you an example. But anybody who has been in a relationship with these people, something is just not well with that. And you don't understand it right away. But when you talk about something serious in your life, as far as a loved one or a friend or a family member, having severe or serious health issues, they minimize it to a strong degree. And it's kind of like you really feel a sense that they're disconnected. That's the best way to put it. So anyway, he cuts the tree, blah blah blah. We go, days go on, weeks go on, and at this point, I'm going through narcissistic relationship abuse, and I'm awakening. And the story I told you guys about when I awakened, I went supernova, I think. I began to swear at this girl. I called all kind of names under the book and on top of the book. Then I reverted, or I switched gears and started quoting scriptures, to which she ran into, she didn't run, but she kind of walked into the closet and held her head on the curtain or the coat rack. And to which I didn't relent. I just continued to go in on her verbally with scriptures. And I just blessed that whole room. And she got silent and she held her head on the coat rack. Now at this point, I'm going through this psychological narcissistic abuse. And I'm not even aware of it yet. And as I told you guys, after leaving out of the house that very day with my children, my daughter emphasized on the fact she had never heard me swear, to that degree anyway. And so I sat there in the car and I Googled what makes a person not show true remorse. And here I am, narcissist, cystic personality disorder. I discovered it that day. Went on to tell her brother, blah, 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 blah. She eventually left my house. At this point, months go by. And I had shared with the elderly couple I had met just what I had discovered. And in the midst of this, I'm constantly in contact with him. We're still friends. He bought a Maserati and a Jaguar when they went on a vacation. And they began to, just reach out to me and tell me different things they had done. And I just thought it was kind of cool. They were old and they had reached a point in their life. The kids were grown and they deserved all this good stuff. Oh, I was happy for them. And they came by and picked us up in the Maserati one day, took us for a ride, brought us back. I just thought, man, this is a blessing. These people come in my life and my children's life, and they just like fill this void or this space that the person that was in my life before came in to destroy. And so I just looked at it as God is replacing something that was lost, if you will, or that thing, that relationship that you didn't need, He replaced it with one you can appreciate. So it's amazing how when something good happens right after this abuse, we right way believe that it is of God, and a lot of times it's not really a thing not to think is of God. Anything good comes from God. So it's just the intentions behind it. And so This is months after she had left and vacated the premises. Thank God for that. And they honked the horn. I looked out the window, and they called my cell phone. Can you come out for a minute? We got something for you. And I said, okay. And this was in the wintertime, December 28th, exactly, 2020, which is when I uploaded the video. Same day. So I walk out, and they hand me an envelope. And I say, what is this? They say, oh, this is just a little something for you. We know you're struggling or you're having a hard time, you and the kids. To which I didn't utter the fact that I was having a hard time. I never told them that. But anyway, I took it, came in the house, counted it as the video shows. That was immediately after I had received it. I look in the envelope, and there's $1,000 in there. And I felt so compelled to go on YouTube at this time. I'm like, man, I need to, give these guys credit for, something good they did in my life, and this is a blessing. So I did that. Later on down the line, we continued our friendship, and I would go to their house frequently, and they would always say, bring the kids. And so I think this particular time I brought the kids, and when we went down there, they lived way out in the woods, 5 miles off the main road. And they have like 75, 80 acres of land. So they live in a mobile home. So I went in, we sat down, they offered us food, and I'm very leery of just eating at different people's house. So to which I eventually accepted them making a meal, and they made it. It was actually delicious, and we ate, me, the kids, and them. And so the wife of the guy that helped me cut the tree, she was sitting in there saying, you need to get divorced from that woman. And I would say, you're right, it's been a while and I need to do it. And I said, I'm just thinking of what I need to do and how I need to approach it, because this is just not going to be just a normal divorce. They're going to drag it on if they can, just to see me struggle with it. And so to which she wrote out, she suggested this lawyer. She said, I know this lawyer, and he's good. He's a friend of ours, and you need to go see him. And to which I said, okay, so I'll go see him. I said, I remember his father. He helped me in another situation when it was regarding tenants and trying to evacuate some tenants. And so I left her house that day, their house, and I think maybe some time went on, maybe a week, 2 weeks, maybe even a week, a couple of days, and I reached back out to her. She said, let me know how much it is and we'll help you. This is what she told me before I left. And so I said, all right. I said, don't worry about that. I'll find out what it is first. And so I did find out, went in, got consultation, and I essentially sat down with this guy. And this was the son of the father I had dealt with before. And this is before I even knew anything about narcissistic personality disorder, by the way. So my tentacles and my awareness is on high, so up there. So I sit there, not even fixated on him, not analyzing him, not doing any of that. But obviously, if you're awakened, you have this success, these things these abilities that you acquire are there. They're intuitive to you. They're connected to you, almost like my arm is to my shoulder. So I sit there and I say, look, I would like this divorce, and they were recommended me by some friends, and I say, your father helped me in the past, blah, blah, blah. I say, this is what I would like, and not to linger and take a lot of your time, but hear me out. I would like you to go in and pursue this divorce proceeding as less invasive, as less intense as possible. Go in, don't make a big stink about anything. I don't want anything for her. She didn't acquire anything from me. It was 7, 8 months she was out of my life after we got married. And so she lives in her mom's house again. I live in my house. We didn't acquire anything together. I said, I want the divorce to be as quick as possible. And I say, by the way, I'm going to emphasize this with you. Not that it matters to you one way or the other, but I will emphasize it, and I shouldn't, but I am. She's a covert narcissist. I don't know if you know what that means. Don't really matter. I said I want you to know that I know that that's what I'm dealing with. So if there's any kind of funny stuff where she wants to linger this out, if you don't know about this, study it. Look into it. Google it. I said I'm not being brash. I'm not being forward towards you. This is what it is. I'm giving you facts, and that's all I want to say. She's like, oh, it's not going to happen just like that. I said, I understand that. I say, I know it's going to take some time to process itself, but I'm giving you this sidebar. We're not going to linger this. We're not going to play the song and dance. We're not going to play this little tennis match of sorts, because I'm highly aware of what I'm dealing with. And so I said, I just want to emphasize that. So nothing against you, nothing personal. Went on. And he's like, oh, you know, I said, well, how much is this going to be, you think? He said, it could be $3,000, could be $4,000, could be $5,000. He said, but my retainer is $5,000. I said, $5 grand? Are you kidding me? And so I said, I ain't got that kind of money. I say, that's crazy. I said, a divorce costs that much. He said, well, it's hard to get out and get in, easy to get in, blah, blah, blah. So I began to realize that this guy was trying to pretty much he's putting his feelers out right now to linger this thing even before he starts. And so I say, and so I pull back a little bit on my aggression, so I'm playing passive. So I said, hey, you know, I understand that, so I'm being very meek about it, because I already know he's taking this personal, like this is me and him against each other. He can't seem to sway me in a certain way, so I was like, yeah, so whatever you suggest, I mean, that's fine. I say, but, you know, just don't want it to be a long, drawn-out situation. I said, so how much of this money will I get back? He said, well, you could get back, I don't know, $1,000, $1,500 at the best. He said, if it doesn't take that long. He said, but if I go to her and she has a laundry list of this and that, and she makes it hard, and I gotta go back. And I said, well, quite naturally, that's no control. You don't have any control of that. And I said, but I understand that. I said, but go in as nice as you can about the situation, and just make it as amicable as possible. And so, after a little while talking to him more, I said, all right, I'll work on the money, and you know, I'll call you when I got the cash. I said, thank you for your time. Got up, I don't know if I shook his hand and left, whatever, but I just had this vibe about him. He had an arrogance about himself, which, hey, nothing to do with me. I got up and I left. And I went and told my friends, the elderly couple, I called them, and she was like, yeah, we'll help you. And I was like, hey, you really ain't got to do that. I say, somehow or another, I'll get the cash up. And so I think I visited them maybe a week after that. And when I was down there, his wife wrote out $5,000 check for cash and gave it to me. She said, yeah, you go give this to him and you get divorced from that girl or that woman. And I just thought, man, you know, they really want me to get on with my life, you know, and get past this and get some distance from this individual. So I took the $5,000 check and I said, you didn't have to do this, but I really do appreciate it. I said, man, this is crazy. So I take the check, I go and I go to the lawyer's office the very next day. They give it to me. This is in the morning. I walk in, which is big doors, 10-foot doors, big columns, a house converted into a law office, which is a historical house. So anyway, I walk in, no need to knock, you just walk in the main doors, and there's an office right to the right, which is his, and so his door is open. He had told me days before that in the discussion before, once I get the check, if he's, you know, give it to the secretary, I don't have to see him or whatever. And so I walk in and I see his office and his door is open. And I kind of look and glance at him and I say, "Hey, how are you doing?" And I just wave. And this is what he does when I waved at him nonchalantly as I'm in motion. He says, "Yeah, what do you want?" I don't even know if that really hit home. I'll try it again. "Yes, what do you want?" Like that. And I'm like, I said, this pen been the check. I say, "I brought you your check. I'm heading to give it to the secretary." And his response to that was, I don't know if he did say anything. Might have been, "That's fine." And so the first response from him, sort of like, in my mind, wow, wasn't even the words. Like, you just perplexed. So I continued and proceeded in the back room, which the secretary was way in the back. I gave her the check, and she gave me a receipt, and I just left. I didn't really, no skin on my butt, my back. I just like was thinking really, really quick about what was going on, what brought that on, trying to make sense of that whole interaction or that response he gave me. So I was wrestling with that here or there throughout the day. And I went back and I told the elderly couple. So I gave him the check and I said, but I think I'm going to get it back from him. And they asked me why. I was like, because I think he's a narcissist. I really do. And I say, if he is a narcissist, helping me divorce a narcissist, that's going to be interesting. I'll get put through the meat grinder for sure. See, anticipating if you got gang narcissists, they gang up on you. It could be a judge and the defendant or the plaintiff against you in court. See, I've gone down this foxhole before. I perceive I have. But the whole point of that is, these wolves, these demons, when they gang up and group up, it is hell, and you're wondering why you can't dig yourself out of that hole. When you're reaching for solace and resolve over here, the ones that should be giving you resolve, they're the ones who are actually compiling more dirt on top of you as you're trying to climb out of this hole. If I can use that analogy, you get the point. So I told him I'm going to give this check back to get this check back. I said, because I don't feel within me that this guy is going to do what he needs to do to get this done. And I say it would be just a waste of money. And I perceive him trying to extort more money. I said something deep inside of me, can't explain it. I said, but I'm getting the money back to Chad, and I'll figure out what I'm going to do as far as a divorce from there. I said, but I appreciate everything you've done. And to that, her response to that was, well, do what you want to do. So, looking at that, all the dynamics of that situation, I don't know if they gave me the check first. I mean, I know they gave me the $1,000 because I'm telling you, this is connected, all intertwined together. They gave me the $1,000. They gave me a $5,000 check in cash to retain the lawyer, and they also offered me land to build a house down the road from them, which was their land too. We had it perk test and everything, which is why I'm making this video. And the perk test passed, which all while the guy was doing the perk test, the guy was standing there, the elderly, old narcissist, was like, oh, no, it's not gonna pass. And I'm looking at him like, I even speak on that, just let this guy do his job. It's almost like he was gambling against this thing passing. And now I know that they throw the fishing rod out there and just wait for you to bite. And all of these things culminated into that land offering he gave me. And he told me to tell the kids about it. I said, no, I should wait until everything is firmly secured and it's a done deal. I said, oh, go ahead and tell him. Let him come out and look at it. Came out and looked at it. He's running around and stuff. We found a location. He perk tested. The guy perk tested. It passed. And I went on to tell him, I'm going to get the machine out here and we're going to finish cutting the road and then we're going to grade off the area and get it preparation for foundation. To which I didn't have any extra money to do any of this foundation stuff. But I figured if we clear the ground and clear the area, that would motivate me to little by little acquire the cash to get the foundation done. And no money to even put a house there. I was actually going to build. So perk test passed. Told him when we get equipment, the excavator down, the bigger one, rented. And he was like, oh no, we use my little tractor, which is a little bigger than a garden tractor with a bucket and a backhoe in the back. And this would have taken like a couple weeks with this thing, if not a week, as opposed, and it would have been a lot of manual labor involved, as opposed to me getting the big one with the grapple, which is this thing acts like a hand. It picks up these trees and it puts them where they need to go. Just would have been the right size machine for the job. So anyway, he was going back and forth, oh, do what you want. He hung the phone up. And I didn't think it was a big deal. And I was like, called back, and his wife answered the phone. I said, what's going on with your husband? I say, I was just kind of like talking it out with him on what would be the best approach. And I said, to which he said, the little tractor would be okay. And I was like, okay, whatever you think. And he hung the phone up. And she's like, oh, I don't know what you and him, what's going on with you and him? And I said, well, listen, when he comes down, I say, just tell him to give me a call. Week went by, didn't get a call. I decided to wait another week. 2 weeks, I'll call back. They don't answer the phone. So I think she texted my phone. And I don't know exactly what